Well, here inside of beautiful Allegiant Stadium, the Death Star for the Raiders, who essentially were in a do-or-die game. The only winless team in the NFL welcoming the 2-1 Denver Broncos to the Death Star. And like every game this season, the Silver and Black put up points on their opening drive of the game. Derek Carr to Devontae Adams, that's 20 yards. That would be the catalyst, which would lead to a Daniel Carlson field goal. 3-0, the Raiders were up. 7-3 now, and the Silver and Black need an answer, and they would get it. Josh Jacobs, 7 carries on this drive. It would lead to a JJ 10-yard touchdown run. 10-3, the Silver and Black were up and rolling, but the game would be tied because the Broncos wouldn't go away. It's tied at 10 when Amik Robertson comes up with probably the best play of the season thus far. Melvin Gordon fumbles the ball, and like the heavens opened up and the ball would fall right into Robertson's hands, and Amik clearly knew what to do with the ball. 68 yards later in a dash down the field, the Raiders would get a defensive touchdown, his first career touchdown of his career. Robertson, 16-10, the Raiders were up after a missed PAT. Now, Russell Wilson and the Broncos would come right back, very quickly I might add. 5 plays, 75 yards, ending with Wilson's second touchdown of the game. This to Jerry Jeudy, 20 yards. Their PAT was no good, so the game was sitting pretty, tied at 16. From there was the Raiders' defense stepping up, specifically Mad Max Crosby making plays, sacking Wilson on consecutive drives to force punts. Meanwhile, when the Raiders would get the ball back, what do? You go to the man who's on fire, Josh Jacobs, continuing to roll tide, if you will. Hey, whatever. Jacobs, elusive, showing a burst. A huge 42-yard pickup leads to another Carlson field goal. 22-16, the Silver and Black and up. It's now 25-16 in the fourth quarter when Wilson, again, bringing the Broncos back. A beautiful ball up top. 55 yards to KJ Hamler. Then promptly calls his own number and runs it in, closing the gap to 25-23 with a ton of time left in the fourth quarter. And that's when the Raiders really needed to run the ball, pass the ball, do something on offense to put this thing away, and they would come up with the goods. Devontae Adams with a first down reception. That's 17 yards. Adams finished with a nice game, 9 catches, 101 yards, and then Josh Jacobs, who had really a career day, but his big, broad shoulders carrying the ball 28 times, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The final nail in the coffin from 7 yards out. Bulldozing Broncos. The Raiders get their first win of the season, 32-23. First win for Coach Josh McDaniels in the Silver and Black. Okay, Raiders, they're on the board now.